Well, good morning once again, and welcome to Breakfast Extra, where we bring you the biggest stories shaping conversations across Nigeria and, of course, Africa. There's a packed lineup for today with hard-hitting reports, in-depth discussions, and experts' insights. Now, we'll be beginning with a big report today as we take a look at, Lagos, Africa's largest city, and it's quite literally being left in the dark. Now, the streetlights crisis has fueled crime, insecurity, and also accidents, and that's how we're going to be starting the show today. In fact, let's just do one good one for you and already show you the package that we showed during the week, brought to you by our correspondent here inside of New Central, Gbenga, Aborowa. Let's take a look at this. Lagos in the dark.
I'm here in Ojota, one of Lagos's busiest intersections, where non-functional streetlights leave roads dangerously dark. Behind me, drivers and pedestrians navigate blindly, increasing risk of accidents and crime. Now, as we turn off our camera lights, the pitch blackness reveals the harsh reality many Lagosians face daily. This report sheds light on the city's streetlight crisis and its impact on lives.
Lagos, Africa's largest city, a thriving economic hub and a symbol of progress. But as night falls, larger areas of this bustling metropolis are plunged into darkness. This isn't just an inconvenience, it is a crisis that's leaving millions of Lagosians vulnerable and threatening the safety and future of the city.
So they affect our gun. Think about what at least
if I'm passing right now, I need to hide my phone to avoid area boys snatching it because of the darkness. And for several occasions, you'll be seeing when they are running. You will not even know what is chasing them because the street light is not on, it's off. But if the street light is on, we can be able to know what is happening and know where to run to.
That street light, you know, walk well. You don't cause that accident. So this that line, that's priority line. Instead that make you put that light for that rain, you know they. Some people they come, they enter, cause accident.
Streetlights are a crucial component of urban infrastructure, providing safety and security for residents and businesses. The lack of functional streetlights goes beyond mere inconveniences. It is a serious safety hazard. It creates an environment where criminals can operate unchecked and accidents become a regular occurrence, putting lives at risk. Lagos State has spent millions on streetlight projects over the years, yet large sections of the city remain in the dark. Why is this happening? Why, despite the funds and promises, the streets are still in the dark? Efforts to engage Lagos State officials for their stance on the streetlight crisis have been met with silence. For many residents of Lagos, these justifications are seen as mere excuses. The harsh reality on the ground paints a different picture, one of unfulfilled promises, poor accountability, and a lack of urgency, all of which are putting lives in danger. The human cost of this streetlight crisis is undeniable. Every night, the darkness claims its toll in the form of accidents, crime, and sometimes loss of life. In the absence of light, criminals find opportunity, and innocent people are left to suffer the consequences.
We want the government to do the street lights for the masses because a lot of dangerous things happen on the way. And if the government can do it, we appreciate them.
When in the work, it helps us. Even though say no get headlamp, it can drive safety without any accident, anything for road. With the help of street lights, you can walk and do anything. I can see the person where they come from, front and back.
But there are solutions. Around the world, cities have turned to solar-powered streetlights, cost-effective, sustainable, and independent of the city's unreliable power grid. Could this be the answer to the Lagos streetlight crisis?
The issues around public infrastructure, such as street lighting, is very important to light up the state. Aside from the aesthetics landscape that streetlight is going to bring to a city of such to a mega city such as Lagos. It's also going to bring it's going to make a Lagos a desirable city also to live, and also it's going to boost the economy of Lagos. And that's why stakeholder needs to come together and see some of the what I call a multiplier benefit of Streetlight.
Experts agree that a combination of innovation and community involvement could help turn the lights back on in Lagos. But can these solutions be implemented in time to make a real difference?
Behind me stands the Lagos State Government Secretariat, a symbol of power and promises. Yet, beyond the allowances, bright lights, darkness prevails. From Ojota to Ikoyi and beyond. The question on every Lagosian's lips is, when will these promises of safer, well-lit streetlights finally come to life? I am Gbenga Aborowa, reporting for News Central.
Many thanks to Gbenga there for that report, as it raises concerns about the state of security in Lagos with the lack of functioning streetlights. So, to unpack that, we brought him here. We present to you the new host of Breakfast Central. Gbenga Aborowa is in the studio here with us. Welcome.
I'll take over the baton.
It's a bigger
platform. That's right.
We're giving you a bigger platform.
He said, just don't worry. I got you right tomorrow. Welcome.
It's good to be here. Thanks, listening. Thanks, Judy.
Thank you
Good
for
to have
coming.
you here.
Thank you for coming. Your report, it's very important at this time. We've talked about security. Security is important. Lagos is a metropolitan. It's a melting pot of all of the cultures. But somehow our streets are not lit as they ought to. It's just the basics, isn't it? Exactly. It's always the basics.
It's the basics. And why I'm very surprised that no other major news station, media organization has not done this. This is what we've been witnessing for the past 2 years or more. It's total darkness. And it's very embarrassing for a state that prides itself as center of excellence not to have functioning streetlights. Like you said, it's the basics.
Very basics indeed. We're going to go a short break. When we come back, there's more. Stay here. You're watching Breakfast Extra on News Central Television. And you're welcome back. If you happen to be traveling or riding across Lagos at night, what you're going to find is most likely the absence of no streetlights. So our report that we played earlier by our very own Gbenga Aborowa, it just really shed a bit of light on the streetlights commotion and just the darkness. And we find ourselves in Lagos. And he joins us live here in the studio with us. My name is Judith the TV. Of course, Mr. Appeal is here. And we're talking about basically the very basics that should be about just providing a security. And one of them is really the streetlights. And before the break, myself and Gbenga were talking about just really the streetlights. And this is the entirety of Lagos. In your report, you were, you could see on the flyover bridge, you were at Ojota, weren't you? And you turned off the lights with the camera.
It didn't help matters because you're so dark. Exactly. So you just blended into the background.
You had to just.
I know. I'm sorry. I forgive me. I apologize.
That's right.
But it was very interesting to see that this is actually the reality that we all live in, and we never actually. We don't consider it, Gbenga. I'm driving to work every morning in the dark, and I'm like, I'm okay. But I've been so conditioned, abused.
Yes,
I've been so abused that I really don't even care for the streetlights anymore. And I'm wondering if this is being taken advantage of by the government. Like, they don't care now. Just,
I mean, don't take my word for it. The African Research Consortium Group conducted a study and said only 30% of Lagos streets are lit. And that's terrible for a state that prides itself as a center of excellence. And if you look at the amount that Lagos generates yearly, I mean, last year they're looking at a projection of 1.2 trillion internally generated revenue. In 2023, Lagos raised over 800 billion. To put this in perspective, that's more than 23 other states combined together. They are IGR. So it's sacrilegious. These are not, it's not for aesthetics. They have functions. Streetlights are basic necessity. Driving to work every day, because I come very early in the morning, it's an extreme sport. You see the street sweepers. You could hit them because they don't wear their reflector jackets anymore. The cones, the reflector thing on the cones, they're faded. So I don't know how people survive. And a lot of accidents, avoidable accidents, have happened because of a lack of streetlights.
When we had the essay on media to the governor, Gbenga late last year, or I think middle of last year, and I asked him the same question about why the streetlights were not on, and he was saying that there was going to be an overhaul where they were onboarding to get street lights that are solar powered.
Renewable energy.
He said that, and because if you notice, most of the street lights that we have are powered by either the grid or diesel generators, right? And so he was saying that, they need to move on. And I argued at the time that those things are not sufficient enough to power or lit up our roads. Do you think that renewable energy is the way to go?
I mean, we've seen Third Mainland Bridge. The new Third Mainland Bridge is a classic example of what you can do with streetlights. But I'm afraid, because maintenance also, if you notice around 3 a.m. it begins to dim, and if there's no sufficient sun during the day, it just goes off. It's not that, it's almost like candlelight. So we need independent, Lagos State has independent power projects that they use to power critical services like general hospitals and all of that. This is critical state infrastructure, even if it's just the major roads. And I don't know why we're making it such a big deal. When I was doing my research for this report, Lagos State officials said, the diesel-powered solutions are not sustainable anymore because it costs them about 700 million naira every month. We've not done our investigations into that, but if that's what you have to pay, if the price you have to pay for lighting up the streets, then so be it. Because, there's a clear and present danger every other day. You don't want your car to break down at some spots in Lagos. And you see government officials moving around in sirens, driving so fast, you'd almost think if they channel that sense of urgency into governance, it will be better for us. We expect better. And just do a random sampling on Twitter. Put Lagos streetlights in the search. You will see comments like, is Lagos allergic to streetlights? And you go to neighboring, oftentimes we always try to compare ourselves with saner climes, they say, in New York, in London. No, you don't have to go that far. In this same West Africa, I go to Ghana a lot. It's a place I like. Inner streets, the main roads, well lit. Kano, Republic of Benin. It's just the basic.
So I guess you have to ask the question why Lagos has that problem. What's the issue? If we go down to the very nitty-gritty of it, there are streetlights. The infrastructure is there, but they don't work. Why do they not?
For advertising purposes.
Oh yeah, they flag.
Those are the only structure that provide.
So they work for advertising, but then why don't they work for the primary purpose, which is to bring to put light on the streets?
Exactly.
Now, is it theft? Is it misuse? Is it lack of maintenance? What is the biggest factor that is making Lagos dark regarding
Number
the
one,
lights?
the political will. Because when you spoke to the essay on...
Hold on, Gbenga. Now you're going to political will. I am sure that has something to do with it. But let's start basic now. Is it that they don't work because they don't maintain them because of political will, is what I'm saying? Nobody to write these policies. So there are elements of vandalism in it. You have people that take the copper, and that's where when you're providing this solution, streetlights, you need to involve the local community so they feel a part of the project and a sense of ownership to protect them. You have the Lagos Neighborhood Watch, those guys on bicycles. What are they doing if they can't look after them? So vandalism is the number one cause, you think?
We have an obsession with CCTV in Lagos that doesn't seem to do much. Just yesterday, it was in the news that Lagos is installing high-speed cameras to find people that are driving. You would think this should come, the street lights should be priority.
Lit the streets
exactly, after you've lit the streets. And then Lagos is also trying to build an airport. They signed a memorandum of understanding with a Turkish company in Lekki. Yes, exactly. You get there in dark roads. So you wonder what should be priority.
So if we've identified that vandalism is the cause, that goes into economic, everybody's suffering, they want to eat somehow.
Exactly.
And
anything
story. They see, they're going to... So when you during your research, approached the Lagos State government, what was their response to this? Did they say, well, we're working on security to stop the vandalism, or what exactly was their...
So here's what I found out from my research. The government agency responsible for providing streetlights is the Lagos State Electricity Board. So I went to the Lagos State Electricity Board twice. The first time I went there, I met the PA to the GM. I told him my purpose, and the PA was very friendly and nice. So he spoke to the GM. The GM directed me to the PRO, who would be in a position to speak about it. I called the PRO. She said she's very busy, that she won't be available. Okay, I said, what about the next day? The next day, oh, it's a very busy period. When we're doing something, when we're organizing events or something, we'd inform you guys. I knew she knew the crisis, and she just didn't want to put her face out there and discuss this, because, I mean, what's the excuse? So I went to the Lagos State Ministry of Information and Strategy in Alausa. They were nice. I went to the permanent secretary's office. He wasn't on sit, and one of the officials there directed me to the Ministry of Energy. I got a couple of numbers, made phone calls, or it's either, or the commissioner is too busy, nobody wants to see me, and I got frustrated. Yeah. Right. So we did our very best to hear their own side of the story.
It makes me wonder, because you said this problem has persisted for 2 years.
More than 2 years.
More than 2 years. And that's even worrying when you think about security. Now, we know that there are cases that have happened that sometimes slip under the radar or are not reported. It is no secret that crime cases are underreported. And so I think I'd like for you to pretty much raise the alarm or call to action to government and just basically the effects of it on security. Just to, I know they know this, just to magnify it a bit, what this means for motorists, pedestrians, and just people who are going about their daily lives and have to use the road.
So I started the report in Ojota. It's a melting pot. Travelers, everyone goes there. But it's very busy. And just random sampling, talking to drivers, talking to traders, even people that didn't want to talk on camera said it's really, really bad. And accidents happen a lot. The area boys take advantage of the darkness. And there's a BRT marking. It used to have this reflective light on it. Yeah. It's not there anymore. A lot of drivers that are not familiar with the route have accidents there because they run into the BRT, that demarcation, the boulder there. So it's terrible. And there's also the economic effect. The Lagos State, it's a win-win situation. I mean, we're celebrating Dirty December. Lagos State government was so proud to come out to say, we raised X amount of money. It was good. Everybody in the world wanted to come to Lagos. So imagine a lit Lagos, a safe Lagos. People won't just be in that Lekki Phase 1, Ikoyi and Victoria Island, because that's what they really tout as Lagos. That's not Lagos.
That's not Lagos.
That's 0 point.
So it's a PR problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Then. Oh, we got it now.
So you see all those fancy videos, they shoot videos with drones in the afternoon.
Wait, so we're part of that problem because we only go to these places, especially in December, to take these pictures and then show it to the rest of the world. And this is Lagos, you're welcome anytime. We go to Ajose Adeogun, the whole, stretch of the
I don't blame them. They do it everywhere in the world. If you go to New York, they won't. Yeah. Exactly. You choose it's an elevator pitch. You go with your best pictures and videos to tell the story. But those of us that live here, once the drones come down, we can see the clogged drainages, we can see what's wrong with the city. And we should also be tolerant and receptive to correction. Nobody is doing this to run down Lagos. Lagos is first in so many things, a progressive state. But for God's sake, these is basic street lights, basic infrastructure. People need to see. And also, Judy, I forgot to tell you, if you're driving at night, there's a high beam problem. So everyone, the glare from the other lane.
Finally, you said it.
It can cause serious accidents. Imagine driving. I'm used to my.
There's much more than that, Gbenga, because there's this new thing with people installing these flashers in their car, and that's actually quite dangerous. It's a health hazard. If you are, what's the ailment now?
If you have
electric, you have light sensitivity.
What's the word? There's a name for it. If you are photosensitivity. You could go into seizures and stuff. So if you're a driver that actually is against traffic and you're running into these flashing lights, you find yourself perhaps going into. And I think that's something that the Lagos State Authority has to look into. these high beams, so people having excessive numbers of high beams. Back in 1990 something, Judith is going to go off now, Damazino is showing his age. But back in the day, there was a policy where it stated that you can't have more than just your headlamps in your car. And the FRSA, I think, would actually stop vehicles and fine you or remove these installments from your car.
But there's a push factor. There's a reason why people are installing them.
Because there are no street lights. Exactly.
Listen, I wish we can play an excerpt from that, from the reports. There's a part where you guys are driving and the lights isn't even, it's so far your headlights can go rich on the road when you're driving because it's not as bright as,
so imagine you would want to install more light.
You think, okay, places like, when I used to live on the island, you would never, it was almost sacrilegious for Aborowa Ikoyi not to have street lights. Those places that used to, the street lights aren't working anymore. Amado Bello Way, in front of the multi-billion-dollar Eco Atlantic.
This is when you used to live on the island? So
No, currently.
Oh, so now that you've moved to Ajegule?
Oh.
Making it sound like Ajegule is a horrible place. Meanwhile, we live there. Listen.
I'm sorry, you walked into that one.
Most of Ikeja is the capital of Lagos. Ikeja should be the showpiece of Lagos.
Right.
I did that, my final cut in front of the former governor's office, and that stretch with near the fire service and Alausa, just that strip, the governor's office, the Lagos State House of Assembly, have lights. It's not like the whole of Alausa is well lit.
So PR scheme.
Yeah, they need to get off their PR.
Besides just the street lights, I think there's something else we need to also discuss. It's the pedestrian bridges.
Oh, yes.
That's a hot spot for things to happen.
And they're not lit themselves.
They're not lit themselves, and even under the bridges are not lit. And those under the bridges are very important because that's where they're all camped, the homeless or even the Aborowa boys or the area boys, as we like to call them in local parlance. That's where they're camped and they live under. And there are women like myself that are single, most likely coming back from the gym late at night, who want to take back a walk to stretch her legs, or a mother who doesn't have a vehicle and coming back home from a trade with her children, and they have to take this pedestrian bridge because they cannot cross the express. But because of they know there is something there that is waiting for them.
Exactly. It's almost like a trap. I started my report in Ojota, like I said, at the top of the pedestrian bridge there. And when we were approaching the bridge, some area boys stopped us. They saw cameras and they're like, Emafualo, this, you're going to give us money, try to harass us. But because of my street credibility,
you got those? You? No, don't be in a rush. Don't be in a rush. Let's sink into that. Did you say you've got street credit?
What do you mean? Can you not see his hat? Are you joking?
We know you, Gbenga. He's the fine boy of New Central.
Have you seen his hat?
So I was able, me and the cameraman Demola were able to talk to them, and they allowed us to do the report. We didn't give any money. But while we were out there, I spoke to a few women, and they didn't want to talk on camera, but they said sometimes they would rather risk crossing the expressway than taking the pedestrian bridge because they're not lit.
So they have to be lit. Under the bridges have to be lit with over they call it floodlights, right? So they have to be lit with floodlights as well, especially places where the bridge itself, that's the car bridges. Underneath it, there's also the roads that are going on there.
Those ones are very dark.
Listen.
What we call underbridge.
Yes.
Exactly.
Every place has an underbridge, which is very interesting. Oh, well, there are actually scenes for crime.
Yes.
And if you check every year, there is one scene, the hotspots, there's one scene where there's always a crime committed on the bridge. Now, your report now, to ask you a direct question, who is it directed to? What authority and what are we expecting to come off of it?
So we're all stakeholders in Lagos State. We pay tax. We deserve to enjoy this, what they call dividends of democracy and proper infrastructure. Lagos State is the state with the highest amount of internally generated revenue. So it's quite shameful that it will find itself in this state. Number one, Lagos State government. Number two, the citizens. They need to hold government accountable. How do you when I came back to Nigeria from university, I had what you call reverse culture shock. What happened to you that why are you guys taking this? Why are the roads so bumpy? Why is this not working? Why are the street lights not working? And people get used to it. So I stopped complaining. I stopped complaining. You are acclimatized. But the street lights, because I just find it very annoying. Driving at night is not safe. And it's basics, like we said. So
Lagos State government, road
those in charge. Because look at the private sector. You have KPIs. If you don't, you have to come to work. Nigeria will be a better place if everybody does their job. Okay, if there are things that are not making you perform to the optimum, you escalate to your line manager. Your line manager will escalate to the managing director. At least you've done your bit. Why are people comfortable with just mediocrity, with the basics? We all do our jobs. So please, if you've come out to say you're going to, it's voluntary, you're going to seek for elective post and you've made promises, the least you can do, this is the barest minimum in street lights.
So provide these street lights, not just that stakeholders as ourselves, individuals and citizens of Lagos, we also have to be vigilant to ourselves. And not just that, the security agencies, the police or neighborhood watch, they also have to provide safety for these infrastructure as well.
In sync, there must be a synergy.
There must be a synergy, exactly.
Yeah, because
that's the word.
Gbenga, well done, and many thanks for coming on and doing this. We appreciate you doing this with us. And also, we are going to still extend the right of reply to the Lagos State
authorities,
Lagos State government, particularly we know that the SA for media for the governor, Gbenga is a friend of the house, and so we extend an invitation for a right of reply. We want to work together in collaboration to see that this is resolved for the betterment and for the future of Lagos. Eko ni Ibaje. All right, I got it correctly. Gbenga, once again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much, Gbenga. I wish I could stretch that far, but yeah, you got my handshake.